towards that finish line, but it has to cover 300 fewer feet. That's a different kind of advantage. So which one will win? You, because this is the craziest race you've ever seen on your tube. YouTube. Use tubes. Yours is Tubes is. I think is what I said before, and that still stands. But oh my God, so much just happened, and it all happened so quickly that I think we need to do that thing where we slow down time and we go back and watch. Come with me. Rewind the tape. Okay, this is all happening in slow motion because the show is called Ultimate Drag Race Replay. Anyway, the Golf dumped its clutch at 4,000 RPM and with no wheel spin banged off a 4.1 second run to 60. Precisely 1.2 seconds later, it will cross that line traveling exactly 67.7 miles an hour, meaning the fastest hot hatch you could buy got an interstate highway's worth of speed advantage. Watching the hot hatch from Wolfsburg accelerate towards them with all the fury of a wolf from the Berg, the Lucid and Corvette are just sitting there with launch control activated. The Lucid in silence, the Corvette at 3,300 RPM with its computer playing tricks to build around 9 psi of boost. If you've ever stood on the shoulder of a freeway when cars in the near lane fly by you, then you'll understand the percussive acoustic impact of the Golf blowing between the Lucid and Corvette. That served as the virtual gunshot for the two static cars to each unleash more than 1,200 horsepower on their poor tires. Hey, over here. I'm standing exactly where the M2CS was when it launched, which is 300 feet past the starting line where the 1,200 horsepower cars launched. The Golf is getting here first, and when it does, the BMW will be 72 feet that way. The other cars are behind it, but they're not going to stay there for long because the Golf's 67 mile an hour speed advantage has dropped already to just 20 miles an hour. Those two cars are right now traveling at exactly the same speed after they've both just pulled off identical 2-second flat runs to 60 miles an hour, separated by just 4/100ths of a second. And by the way, the Corvette got there first, which nobody expected. Either way, they're coming for that Golf fast. How fast, you might ask? Well, right here, the Lucid and Corvette both hit 100 miles an hour, and yet the Golf still hasn't. It's only doing 97. This means that the Sapphire and ZR1X can accelerate from a dead stop all the way to 100 miles an hour in the same amount of time it takes the truly quick Volkswagen to accelerate from 67 to 97. The BMW M2CS is just behind the Golf at this point, and its goal is to catch that Volkswagen before the Lucid and Corvette catch it. And it has the power to do it, just maybe not the grip. As the only rear-wheel drive car here, it struggled for traction the entire way to 60 miles an hour, hitting the mark in just 3.4 seconds. A hell of an accomplishment. But it wasn't nearly enough. Once that monster S58 could really stretch its legs, well, it was already too late. Was nuts. Yeah. Not only did the Corvette catch the Golf, but it blew by it going 35 miles an hour quicker. And don't forget, the Golf had a 67 mile an hour head start. Poof. Corvette also beat the Lucid. They both tripped within the same tenth, so they're 9.1 second quarter miles for both of them, but the Lucid was going 3 miles an hour quicker. So clearly our reigning champion wants its title back. On the launch, these two cars are so close that we used two different GPS units, one that calculates location 20 times a second and the other one 25, and they couldn't reliably tell us which one was in the lead. To have a perfectly accurate drag race between these two cars, they would have to launch within less than 1/100th of a second of one another, and most humans aren't capable of that. By 60 miles an hour, no clear victor was emerging. The Corvette got to 60 4/100ths of a second sooner, but the Lucid hit 60 traveling 12.8 fewer inches along the way. This is a dead tie so close that the computers can't tell them apart. It's all within the noise. The two 1,200 horsepower monsters finally start to separate once they're over 100 miles an hour. But separate is relative because they're never more than a couple car lengths apart. Or put in terms of time, they're always within a sliver of a second. The Corvette actually pulls on the Lucid Sapphire, words I never thought I'd be saying, until the huge aerodynamic drag of its track-focused ZTK wing starts to work against it. The Lucid's slippery shape means it keeps accelerating at a slightly higher rate, slowly reversing the Corvette's lead and gaining a couple of miles an hour advantage right at the end of the run, but ultimately not catching the Corvette in time for the line. And just like the Lucid, it seems the M2 ran out of runway too soon also. Oh, that wasn't as close as I was hoping. The M2 CS only had to cover 1,020 feet, when the other cars had to cover 1,320 feet. And yet this wasn't quick enough to beat them all to the line. But the M2 CS is not a slow car. By the time it crosses this line, it's already doing 117 miles an hour, which is about as fast as the Golf was going, and the Golf had 600 extra feet to accelerate. 600 feet is almost 660 feet, and 660 feet is half of a quarter-mile track. That is a very ugly, fast little car. Our test just wasn't long enough. Another couple hundred feet, it would blow right by the Golf, and neither of them would ever see the Corvette or Lucid again. We did do a full test of the CS, and the mighty little Bimmer posted an 11.5 second quarter mile, meaning it's quicker than a Ford GT, a Lexus LFA, and a Lamborghini Urus Performante. Keep that in the back of your head when you're watching this race. Same, by the way, with the outrageously capable Volkswagen Golf R. This isn't just quick to 60 at 4.1 seconds. Through the quarter mile, it beats a Lotus Emira and ties a V8 Mustang Dark Horse. And yet, with a football field head start, it finished this race behind the 1,250 horsepower Corvette ZR1X. I guess that's what having 3.8 times the horsepower will do. But to find a car with more power than the Chevy or Sapphire, you're spending way more than 3.8 times the money. More like 16 times the cash, which would land you in $5 million Bugatti Chiron Town. And then you'd be slower anyway. What an amazing race, am I right? Well, it's not actually over yet, because the next time you see our leaderboard, the Lucid will be back on top with the Corvette below it. Wait, what? I saw the Corvette win. You saw the Corvette win. The problem is the Corvette and Lucid both crossed the finish line in the same 10th, with the Lucid traveling more quickly. So by the numbers, the Lucid won, even though it didn't. Don't get mad at me. I didn't invent rounding. I don't make the rules. This is just what happens when you're at the very top of the heap, scraping for scraps at the far end of the decimal point. In the meantime, though, you can take solace in the knowledge that on regular pavement, the Corvette ZR1X is the quickest accelerating combustion car in the world. And you thought those guys were quick. Nope.